Welcome to Don't Panic Geocacher, channel devoted to helping you unlock the mystery of mystery geocaches. My name is Arjen and I go by Waterfan5 on the geocaching.com website. This episode is part 6 of a series of 10 and is called Google All the Things. The series of 10 teaches you a structural approach on how to solve mystery caches, giving you a step-by-step guide on how to get more information if you're stuck with a geocache. In this episode, to Google all the things, talk about the power of searching. We talk about the ability to search for text and images and find tools and other information that might be critical in solving the mystery cache that you're working with. It will happen quite a bit that you will encounter topics that you're unfamiliar with, but that should not discourage you as you have the entire internet at your fingertips to give you answers to questions you may have related to the mystery. As always, this episode has a few slides with background information, but the majority of the time is spent on solving puzzles that I created or that I've published myself as a mystery geocache. So what do I mean when I say Google all the things? That really means Google everything on the page. You don't know what to do, already tried maybe some of the tips of the other videos, then Googling more information, searching for more information can help you unlock. And that means the title. The title is often can be a hint. Of course, the hint itself can be a hint on how to solve. Any sentences that you may see may reveal information. Maybe the sentence isn't made up, but actually is maybe a quote from a book or something else. There could also be keywords on the page that might actually lead you to a specific website that you need to solve the information. So any piece of text that you may find, either individually or in combination with each other, can provide you more helpful information that initially you didn't expect. The text may look very innocent. They may all look very good sentences. You may see words on an image, but still, if you Google that information, suddenly something surprising may come out that may help you further. But not just the text is irrelevant, also the images themselves. In this video, I will talk about something called reverse image search, the ability to search for the image on the internet and might give you again more information what the geocache is about or give you other information that might help you solve the mystery. And I'll also talk about the Googling and searching for the coordinates itself, as there is many ways that the coordinates that are used, either reference coordinates or the original coordinates, may help you solve the puzzle and may actually be the puzzle itself. To demonstrate, I created a fictitious puzzle this time, so it doesn't really exist, so it's not something that's going to be published, but just shows the example. So, puzzle is called Icon Class, um, and you see a short description. I was looking for an unwitted love, but had an insensibility to beauty. Location is going to be important, so somewhere in the 57 range and West 3. It's in Scotland. As I mentioned, I don't live anywhere close, so it's not really going to be published, so don't go look for cache. It won't be there, but it will help us identify that we have the right coordinates later on. So lesson was Google everything. So let's start Googling with, for example, the title, icon class. So open Google. Now, I typically put quotes around things. That just means that they have to be together, so it just reduces the number of elements found. And we see here something about cruise ships. Puzzle doesn't look about cruise ships at the moment. Go back, see some kind of art piece behind it. It looks like as a background, but nothing really that strikes out. But let's some more. So we'll take the other two words. Also here, and again put quotes around it, and same for the other term. What else we can do is actually put a plus in front of it. Means that we want this to appear, and we want this to appear as well. See a few things come up. Actually, some things that have both. So something with work Bible. Okay, that could be promising. Um, Some other items here. Shakespeare text. That may also potentially be promising. Some things to take care of. Nothing really that strikes out yet, although I do like the Bible part. But let's continue searching. And let's search the hint as well. So I'm taking here the entire hint. And same principle, not searching word by word, but just searching the whole text. And I will demonstrate what happens if I don't do that. Let's search this, and hey, that's nice. It actually pulls up something called icon class. So icon class, of course, being the name of the geocache here. So that's actually pretty good. Now, if I hadn't done the quotes, actually let me save this icon class because that's relevant. If I hadn't done that and just did it without this, you see that other websites pop up first, and I may not have found it the right information. And you can see I could scroll down, and I never actually get into the system that I was looking for. But by putting those quotes around it, I actually mean that I'm searching for the entire sentence, and that allowed me to find the information. So yeah, let's now take a look. This icon class, what is this? Talks about it's a classification website. Well, that is good. That could potentially help us, and it has a browse and a search function further. So let's take a look. Search. Well, let's type those other words again that we have here. So let's type those in here and see what we get. Search, and we see, hey, a number appear. Not quite sure what this number is. It's of course not a regular decimal number. As we talked in the usual suspects training, it's always good to assume that maybe this is a base conversion. So this could be a hexadecimal number or something else. So let me just try tool, and we'll just try to say, okay, well, this is the number we have. Don't really know what the search is, but we kind of want to get from any to base 10 because we think the answer might be base 10. And so look down the list, and then here we see a 5701410. Now going back to our geocache 5701, that actually looks pretty close. So this looks pretty promising that we have part of our coordinate here. Same for the other text. Type it in here. And also this one, we get a hit. And if we put this in the base, actually we can put both in there. But just doing one. And base 16 again, 3, 5, 5. And again, that looks pretty promising that it's coordinate. So here, we actually now, thanks to Googling everything and being very thorough in our Google searches, we were able to solve the puzzle. Had we just looked, for example, for icon class like we did in the beginning, we actually didn't find the website, but actually it was only the hint that helped us finding it. So yeah, it's just an example of how Googling and doing extensive searches to what you see on the page can help you find something of what you're looking for. I already mentioned before that Googling the coordinate, whether it's the posted coordinates or any reference coordinates or any other coordinates, may be very interesting. Unless you can go to the location itself, you often have to reside to tools for information. And of course, if you have to go to the information itself, it will be more of a field puzzle. But there is lots of online resources that can be used to help solve a puzzle or that you have to use to solve the puzzle. So for example, it could be that the map view or the satellite view shows certain numbers that may not be visible in real life, but are there. Could be street numbers, could be building numbers, could be any type of number that you see. Also look for certain street names or shapes that you may see on it. It might be that shape is important. Lots of buildings are shaped in specific ways that can be used in puzzles. I will demonstrate that later. Same with roads can be shaped in certain ways. Intersections could be shaped in ways that could be relevant. And so going to the coordinates that are provided to you can give you more information. Also remember, Google allows you to do street view. So you can look at the street view information and maybe see information posted, like whether it's graffiti or something else that might be relevant. And Google also allows you to upload images, and the cache owner may actually have uploaded an image to a specific location that can now help you solve the puzzle. So all of these make it relevant to go to those coordinates in a Google Maps or a relevant search tool to see if you see something that can help you solve the puzzle. So another example to demonstrate. So another fake cache here. And cache, of course, can have the posted coordinates. And of course, they often are just fictional, just invented. But sometimes they can have meaning. And so it's important to reach the cache description and see, might there be some meaning associated with it? The other thing is that there might be reference points like this associated, or there might be points listed on the cache page. So all of them could be relevant in solving geocache, the puzzle. So let's take a look. Geocaching.com has some useful shortcuts that allows you to go to different maps. So I'll go here and go to Google Maps and go to the posted, right? And see what we see there. And now, so we go here and what we see if we zoom in closely is actually that slight faint, but it's more clear. I actually go to satellite view. Actually, this looks exactly like the number 3. And so that could be the case that the coordinates all going to point you to buildings or shapes. And in this case, you could almost say 3, 0. So almost here, buildings next to each other. And so that the locations that are given is actually something that you physically have to recognize on Google Maps. It could be as easy as a number, but it could be something else that you have to identify on that map. So let's take a look at some of the other coordinates as well that were listed here for some other examples. So this one, put it in here, see where that brings me. So this brings me at the middle of a road, and of course most roads, like anything, have a specific number. So here we see the M23. So 23 could be a number that in this case would take a look at as well. So you may have to zoom in or zoom out, get to a specific number because they may not appear in the zoom. That might be something. Go to the next one. Okay, this one, if we had just stated, let me go back to the regular view first. Like this. So it doesn't show me anything, right? So if I would have just stayed on the regular view, it doesn't show me any decent information. No matter how much I zoom in, I never get the information I'm looking for. However, by going to the satellite view, I can now see that there is actually something printed on the map. It's in this case a number of the airport, and so it's number 25. And so that might be the number that we look for, especially if multiple coordinates are given or multiple locations are given. Then of course it's very easy to make coordinate out of all those. Okay, 2 more examples. Take a look at those. So here we see another number. And so if I go here, again, nothing looks too obvious when I go here. But there's another option to that is using Street View. So Street View. And you can take a look at this type of information. And on Street View, we actually do see a number at the coordinates. Now it's 40, and that can be used. So there's a variety of ways that all of these could actually give you more information. And so you have to check all the views, especially if coordinates are given. You have to check for all these things. Is there something in the regular view? Is there something in the satellite view? Is there something in the street? One last one. So another sign here. So we go right here. Again, looks like nothing is really posted here. But again, if we go here, maybe some more detail, and voila, we see a sign right here, right? This is actually not something that Street View wasn't even available here. Somebody uploaded a picture here. And so even though it looked like we couldn't do Street View, somebody could have purposely put a picture here, and actually this doesn't even have to be here. This could actually be fake. So for example, somebody can even upload a fake picture to it because this is a manually uploaded picture. So very easy to make a puzzle. I've seen puzzles where somebody uploaded actually the puzzle itself, and so you actually have a QR code that you can scan the puzzle. Google has very few restrictions on pictures that you can upload. So those are just different ways of where Googling the coordinates in different variants could be important to get more information from the system. Searching images is a special skill. It's called reverse image search. And Google and other websites have specific tools for that. Google gives often more an approximate search, and so it gives you pictures like, which can be very useful if the issue or the picture that you have is not the complete picture, maybe a partial picture, or maybe a modified picture. The alternative is TinEye that searches more for the exact image. So if you want to know exactly where this image is, it might bring you back to a website that was used by the cache owner for their puzzle. So both of them are useful tools, and I will give a demonstration of both of those and how they can help you and how one in certain cases is better than the other. There's also information about, of course, the image itself, and so when you know what the image is, that might answer a question that you may need to do. Just being able to find the information if you see a certain picture may actually be able to help you answer a question. The last thing, although there is much more to talk about that, is see if the image is modified, right? Even if it is an image, a Google search might reveal to you that, hey, it is different than the original. And those differences were often then put there on purpose by the cache owner and may now help you solve the puzzle, may give you a clue in how to solve the puzzle. So all of these things are relevant when you see um, a cache page is not only search for text, not only search for locations, but also search the images that are shown. Let's take a look at the two sample caches again, but now focus more on pictures. The icon class had a background picture, and what we can do is see if that picture is maybe something that is relevant to us. Now, I installed a specific add-on, and I will share the link later on in the presentation that allows me to do a search by image. So I can do all search engines, but typically I'm only interested in Google, TinEye, those are the primary ones. Bing can sometimes be useful as well. But if I do that, it will then look for this image and then see maybe if it recognizes it. See here that it finds some references of what it thinks the picture is. And we see some other copies of that, but also pictures that look similar. Now, similar can be useful, but if you don't have the exact image or a part of the image, Google is a great search. But if you're looking for the exact one, I would actually recommend to go to the TinEye one that searches more for the exact image that was used. And so now you can see the exact scenario and where it's located. Now, in this case, it won't help us much with the cache, but many mystery caches where you have to identify a picture or find out what it is. Could be an album cover, book cover. These search engines are very easy, and having an add-in installed to make this search quicker helps you. Now let's take a look at the other one. Another place, of course, where images are is in the gallery. So I go to the gallery option. You can see the image there. Click on it. I typically open it up in a new window so I can see it better. So do that here. And we can actually see that there is some coordinates or partial on this image. Note this could have been an image that was uploaded to Google Maps, and that's why I was talking about earlier how important it is to analyze those pictures and see what is there. And from here we can do the same searches again and see maybe it is somewhere else. In this case, it's a modified one. Quick way to see if it's modified is to use a specific website. So I'll use this URL. Probably do a separate class on that. But there is a website called Photo Forensics where you can upload the image. And so if you go there, you can provide the URL of the image, and what it will do is it will scan the image. It'll take a few seconds for it to load that. But what it will do is a so-called error level detection. And that means that it will highlight, and you can see that kind of like this bright area here. Clearly, that is the part of the picture that's being modified. So this is a quick way to verify an image has been modified when it's still the original. It's not 100% bulletproof, but certainly with pictures and where it's harder to see, this might quickly give you away. I'll probably do a special training section about that. Time for another example, this time an actual geocache, actually published by me. XYZ, the world is not flat. So despite some people believe the earth is round, and this puzzle actually uses that by giving us an X, Y, and a Z. The cache. So this training was all about Googling information. So we Google title, but of course that may not get as much. It's a little bit made up. But if we go to the hint, we actually find something that looks relatively interesting. Man says Earth-centered fixed. Pretty decent. Let's see what happens. And again, put the numbers around it. And what we get is something Earth-centered Earth fixed coordinate system. So that is good because ECEF is a coordinate system that is not very commonly used. For example, I showed previous ones that if used, for example, popular websites like the coordinate converter, we see many different options for coordinate versions that are here, but the one ECEF is actually part of it. This is one of the more obscure ones. Now, what this allows you to do, it gives you all kinds of math of how you can calculate the coordinates with an X, a Y, and a Z. And that's always what we have. Here we have an X, a Y, and a Z. So we can do the math and do the job, or as I mentioned earlier, there's tools for everything. So it's always useful to see, well, maybe there's an online tool for this. So open another window. So we now know it's called ECEF, coordinate converter. Let's see. And actually we see something pop up here. Let's open that, see if that looks useful. And this one allows us to enter an X, Y, and a Z. Let's take that information. This website, well, third one. And then we want to convert, and we get a, actually we get a negative number here, minus 275. This in this case, 34 and 84. Go. Let's see whether it matches the post coordinates 34, 84. So pretty sure we're on the right track here. This is of course a decimal system, so now we could actually use the coordinate converter that we have right here. One of the options would be to say, well, we enter it in the decimal system. We enter it and we right here. So we can enter both numbers that we got. Where's the other one? We enter this one as well. Now convert it, and now we get 3410, 288, 8447, 308. That looks all pretty close to the posted coordinates, and we got our puzzle solved. Thankfully, using some pointed Google searches that would help us get the solution. One more example. This is Geoheist the city, part of a series that I've also used in other videos. This is a series of 9. The first part talks about the series, and this puzzle can be solved individually. Some of them cannot. Other information. And part of that is that you have to solve the puzzle. So this is not a field puzzle, it's something you have to do at home. And we have a couple of images here. We have this one, talks about that this is a postcard. So with some locations on there, and it looks like some ciphertext and some dates are posted here. And we have a post-it note that says, call me when you find out where I will be hiding. And then it has a fictitious phone number, which is of course way too long phone number, which is part of it is crossed out. And a certitude checker where it says the city. Always good, as I mentioned, to check what the checker really wants. And in this case, you see it actually wants a keyword. So not a coordinate, but a keyword. Keyword, of course, being the city. Now, here is where image search again can help you, because you may recognize the cities or you may not. Google Lens is actually ideal for this scenario, because if I do search by image, I'll get the picture, but I can actually select part of the picture. So I can say, I'm only interested in this part. And what it will do is it will actually tell me where this part is. So in this case, this is the St. Basil Cathedral. And of course, that is in Moscow. Search that further. Here, Moscow. And we can take the second one and say, we are interested in this one. And you notice the picture doesn't have to be exact because, of course, this has been photoshopped with these characters on it and date on it, but we can still find it. The Google search will do approximate searches, unlike the TinEye search that I mentioned earlier, which does more like exact searches. So this, of course, Statue of Liberty, and so we'll have New York, and the same one. Last one is here is the Brandenburg Gate, and that is some search. This is in Berlin. And if we go to the last one, you will see that actually it will probably struggle a little bit more because it's a little bit less known, but get some information out here. So we get all kinds of graffiti. But yeah, it's much harder to match that, right? So it's much harder to do this. You may still recognize it, where this is. And actually you see here, it has gotten better because it actually recognizes this as Melbourne. Now, let's say that you weren't able to find this one because you hadn't seen this video, and you were able to identify. There is actually a second way to identify the cities, and that is using this little ciphertext. So I will do this as well. But first, yeah, just showing you how useful this Google photo search is and how quickly I can do different searches with the Google Lens image search. But that's in this case, wanted to kind of use text here, so we see these different symbols. Well, we knew this was Moscow. It's not very good. Let's change it to a different color. Moscow. So this, and then this one was New York. York, and you see it exactly lines up with the symbols, the number of letters. So I had 6, 7. This one, type Berlin. And the last one, let's say that that was the one I couldn't find or couldn't recognize. The other one, kind of obvious. I see a plus symbol, so this must be an M. Wheelchair symbol, I have that here. This is an E. Don't know what it is. Waiter symbol, I guess, but it looks like this one. It's an L. Then we have a glass. Yeah, that's the same as Berlin. And you basically can see that next one is the O. And we can more or less like spell out the name. We have at the end, we have an E again. The car is an R. So we can get most of the letters out here. So this way you can get Melbourne. So now we know all 4 cities. Yeah, 2 ways to solve it now. We can try and see if maybe it's any of these cities. That's one to do it. But of course, we also have this weird phone number. Well, as I mentioned, no point trying to call it. It won't work. But something else is that these are all like 3 and 4 digit numbers, and we had these dates as well. December 12th, it's 12/12. We have 12/12 here. It's crossed out. June 6/17, 6/17. We have that here. May 5/10, 5/10. And the last one, September 26, the only one that isn't crossed out, 9/26. And so we have Melbourne as the answer. You can go to the checker, solve this puzzle. So a variety of links to show this time. I always mention the generic ones just because of how powerful they are and how much of a complete set they provide. Um, I use some coordinate conversions, so there's several tools out there. So coordinate converter, of course, being a popular one. Um, then the base conversion. So here's two tools that I frequently use to do base conversions. The TinEye, other than the Google itself, of course, for information. And then the plugin that I used. If you search for search by image by Armin Sebastian, you will find a plugin that you can install in Chrome. And that plugin will allow you to do the search by image like I did. So you have that in addition to lens as an option. Of course, there's other ones out there. You can see what is your favorite. These are some popular ones that I showed in this presentation. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please upvote it. Also, if you have any feedback, feel free to comment on it. Appreciate that as well. If you like to stay updated when next videos come online, subscribe. I frequently put out new videos, so that way you stay involved and you don't forget to learn new things about mystery caches. If you have questions about maybe something I presented, maybe you would like me to discuss a certain topic, feel free to contact me. More than happy to discuss maybe a certain topic that you would like to know more about. If you'd like me to talk about a certain style of caches, or maybe you would like me to explain one of your caches in a similar example like I did today, I can do that. I can create a kind of like a virtual cache like I did here that kind of mimics the same example as a hint to a specific cache. You can reach me as waterfan5 at the geocaching.com website. You can also contact me by email by geocacher.waterfan5@gmail.com. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully the next time you see a mystery cache, you can panic a little bit less.